The games that the parents play, the children will pay. How you treat your wife, how you treat the mother of your child is going to mold, inform, and determine some, if not all, of the future of your children. Like what the expectations are, what the boundaries are, if they grow up to be healthy human beings, right? Like it determines so much. Now our actions have severe consequences when we are trying to raise children.
Call us Reyes on the humble show. Yeah, we all in. So grab your boys now, cause you know we all win. Lift your hands up.
Welcome back to the All In Podcast, where the truth is unedited. I am your host, Carlos Reyes. And right in front of me, I got the most interesting man in the industry, Mr. Zady. Hey, you want to stick around today because we are going to talk about the real epidemic in America, or actually one of the many epidemics in America, which is absent fathers. Men who refuse to step up and take care of their children. Men who refuse to step up and selflessly become a provider and a protector and a support system and a mentor to their children. So with that being said, okay, Mr. Zady, you're a husband, you're a father. Did you grow up in a pretty decent family dynamic? Father, mom?
Yeah, I did. I had a father, mother, big family. We would get together every week. Every holiday, we'd have a lot of people at our house. My mom and dad would love hosting. They genuinely taught me how to love human beings and be the man I am, you know. I could say one of the things that my parents did that I would critique is they did spoil the shit out of me. And
what does that mean?
It gave me everything I want. So I thought, you know, money grew on trees, you know, unlike the way you grew up, you know, where you grew up in that tough life and hard, and you understood the value of money because you didn't have it. I didn't understand the value of money when I had it, when my family had it. And I had to experience that loss when my father died to be able to finally understand that, hey, you got to work for this thing and you got to earn money. You know,
Mm-hmm.
I didn't really get that.
Let me ask you something. Why is it that too often men don't want to step up and take care of their responsibilities at home?
Bro, that's such a good question. I was talking to my wife the other day actually about this. I was holding my son and my daughter, both of them.
Mm-hmm.
And I was wondering, I'm just like, how is it that some parents like never hold their child and say, I love you? And
Wow.
I was telling my wife, I go, that's what ruins the world. It's when a baby grows up that's not held and told I love you and gets comforted. That baby grows up and creates a problem in society, in my opinion, because it's not given love by its parents.
So statistically, here's some statistics. About 7 million fathers are absent from the lives of their children. That is a lot of fathers, by the way, right? So the number of children without a father, it's about 18.3 million children. That's 1 out of every 4 children in the U.S.
Wow.
lack a father in the home.
Wow. That's incredible.
If you ask me, right? I mean, like as a country, we have to be one of the worst in the world when it comes to having that stability and building that healthy home life. And you and I both know that healthy adults build up and develop healthy children who eventually become healthy adults.
Yeah.
So those were some staggering statistics, in my opinion, right? And you know, this is the sad part. 80%, okay, 80% of single parent homes are led by the mother.
Meaning the father has
That
abandoned.
means that the mom is taking care, like the dad's gone. 8 out of 10 times that there's a separation, for some reason, the mother, I don't know if it's just motherly instinct, right? But the mother steps up and handles it. And the dad, the man, is, in a cowardly way, is MIA, missing in action.
I wonder statistically how many of that is, the man cheats and then the woman kind of like breaks up with the man and the family gets destroyed because the man cheated. You know what I'm saying? I feel like men just have this like weird inkling, like when they get married or they have kids, they don't really focus on the family and they still think that they're single and free. And, if something gets thrown at them, they all, hey, they offered, so I just took it,
Yeah.
Or when I was growing up, I had a few friends that, they were married before me, but it was so weird, bro. They would go out and hit on women just to see if they still got it.
That's disgusting.
And
dude.
if it worked out, they wouldn't stop the process. They would hit on the girl and let's say the girl was like digging the guy. He wouldn't stop and be like, oh, hey, okay, well, now I know I got it. But it's just like, hey, I came this far. Might as well get more.
That's absolutely disgusting. I'm going to hit on this woman to see if I still got it.
Yeah. I think that happens a lot, bro.
At that point, bro, you're just clearly living in a false sense of identity, which is it's attached to your ego, right? If you hitting on women leads you to believe that you still have it as a man, then and your priorities are pretty messed up.
Yeah.
Right. I grew up with an absent father. Just to give you a quick background, on my situation. I was born in Mexico, and my father, he had a lot of issues. He needed to work through, and I'm not going to sit here and judge him, but this is what I'll say. It started with alcohol. Yeah, it was like my mother and father were happy married couple, and then my father started getting wrapped up into some bad stuff, and one thing led to alcohol, and then a little bit of cocaine, or maybe a lot of cocaine, and then after that it was just like constantly just being, what's the word, like when you're constantly just looking out to see if it's
paranoid,
paranoia.
Wow.
Right. And then the paranoia led to like my father not trusting my poor mother, who was at home trying to raise me and my brother. And he would come home and look under the bed. Where is he?
Oh my God.
Where is he?
You saw that? Like you were like,
well, no,
stories or you would.
My mother told me I was about probably 2 to 3 years old. Right.
Oh, okay.
So eventually it led from alcohol, drugs, paranoia, lack of trust. You know what comes next? Domestic abuse, domestic violence. Then after the domestic violence, right, it's like the constant domestic abuse and mental abuse and emotional abuse. And sometimes for some women, the physical abuse isn't even the tough part.
Yeah, the mental.
It's the mental and the emotional abuse consistently that creates hell in the house.
And then that person has to raise a child somehow in a.
Can you imagine? It's already hard to raise children.
Yeah.
I just spent 6-7 days with my baby girls in New York, and I'm telling you, all children we're constantly molding them, forming them. Yeah. We know that they don't belong to us. They're their own human beings. They're their own people. All we can do is guide, right?
So I have a question for you, bro, because, and I say this because I say it's easy because I saw love with my mother and father. I saw loyalty with my father and my mother. I saw how they fought.
You saw a good example.
I saw a great example. Yeah, so it's very difficult not to repeat what you see. My question is, bro, how the hell do you grow up the way you grow up with your absentee father, with the domestic abuse, with the drugs, and then still grow up and be able to maintain an honest relationship with your wife?
Watch this. Ready? So, domestic violence began to happen, and it got really bad to the point where he almost literally, like, he beat my mom so bad that she almost died, right?
Jeez, wow.
And then at one point, he took out his gun and he started shooting towards, like, at our feet.
Oh my God.
This is a story my mom tells me.
Yeah.
Okay. Once that happened, my mom said, enough. Can you imagine, by the way, being in your late 20s, 2 kids, a marriage, and my mom is the youngest sister of 11 kids.
Oh my God.
And now it's like, can you imagine like what she had to go through mentally and emotionally? Like my family, Mexican family, very conservative family, like, oh, they're going to judge me. I'm going to leave this man, right? It's going to lead to a divorce. And my older brothers and sisters, they're going to constantly judge me and probably like shame me.
Wow,
my father, my mother, her father, her mother, they're going to shame me. Right. Can you imagine all that she had to overcome to leave the house? So she took me, she took my brother, she took our stuff, and she went 2 hours south to a small little port called Guaymas, Sonora. Went to my father's dad and mom, ironically.
Yeah.
And that's where that was our little fortitude there, our little hideout. Right. My father was too busy drinking, womanizing, drug using to even like care. Like, where are they at? Where they go? Right? Like, you know what I mean? Like, it was wild, right? So we went down and took my mom, I would believe, every strength inside of her to leave my father, go down, and eventually make the decision of coming to the United States of America. Can you imagine being a woman now who just got out, like he just left by the way, my father and my mother, they're still married in Mexico.
Wow.
To this day.
No divorce.
Like, she didn't divorce him. She just left.
Wow.
Listen, it takes so much for a woman, let alone a married woman with children, to get up, to develop the strength to leave an abusive relationship.
Yeah.
But she did it. And then the next thing she had to do is ask the tough question to my grandfather and my grandma, hey, there's no future here for my children. There's no life. We're not like, this isn't living. We got no running water. We got no electricity. Our floor is dirt. We have to shit in the back. Like, we have a freaking back house to take a shit in.
Like a hole in the ground.
We have to wash our clothes in the back and then hang it on these wires in the backyard. And we got to wait for this truck to come up to give us water, to fill up our 5-gallon tanks once a week and hope that it lasts. This isn't living, man. She's like, I'm going to take a shot. I'm going to go over to the United States of America and just see if I can create a better life for me and my sons. She goes, Can you guys watch my kids while I go and try to do this? I always say, nobody succeeds on their own. Think about what's just happening here. My mom, my grandparents, it took all that. It took them for me to be here where I am today.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah.
Like, we are so quick to undermine the people that contributed massively in our journey.
To our development. Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? So, they agreed. And to make a long story short, 2 years later, it comes back, picks us up. We go to Cali, we fail, come back to Mexico. And she asks him again for a year and a half. She comes to Phoenix, brings us over. We're good. Okay, we're good, right? Okay, great. But my father was absent for about 17 years of my life.
Yeah.
And he came back into my life. I don't even know how it happened, but I'll tell you what. When I had my first daughter, 2012, my father came back into my life.
Sure, good.
Okay.
That's a good reason to come back.
Yeah,
You let him come back for his grandchild, or like he wanted to come
brother,
back for that?
You know what's crazy, by the way, and anybody out there that's watching or listening, I, to this day, hold zero resentment, zero anger towards my father. Zero. And we try to make it work.
Yeah.
And here, I'll say even something crazier. I love him. I love him for being my father. I love him for contributing towards me being on this earth.
Well, he did the best that he could do with his programming, which probably came from his parents, right?
No, I don't believe so, because my grandfather was a great man, and he took care of his responsibilities.
So where did your dad slip up? Like, what was the?
I don't know, man. I don't know if it was the poverty. I don't know. Like I said, I think it was the drugs, man, the alcohol and the drugs that led him. He had a good example at home.
Damn, that's wild.
He had a good example at home, man. He had my grandfather and he had my grandma, which, again, they both died married.
I wonder what if statistically, if you come from a good home, chances are you're gonna provide a good home.
Yes, right? Absolutely.
But it still happens where you come from a good home.
Every now and then, right? Every now and then. But here's what I'm saying. So for anybody out there, if your father, didn't do right by you at some point of your life, and you're watching and you're listening, and you just heard everything that I've been through with my own dad, right? Don't hold any resent. Don't hold any anger, because anger and resent are just poison to your heart. They're just poison to your soul. And at the end of the day, how you feel about you and how you feel is all that matters. And we only get one life here on earth. And you want to try to be at peace and in harmony with everyone. So why not your own father? Right? So we try to come back into my life, and we try to make it work. Father and son, and it just didn't work out. I believe that we were too far gone. We didn't really know each other, and we stopped communicating for like another 2 to 3 years. And then right before he passed away, which was 2021, he reached out to me, and he called me, and he told me how proud he was of the man that I had become.
Wow.
Right before he passed away.
That's got to be healing.
Yeah. He says, hey, I want you to know that, I didn't do many things right in this life. He's like, but I'm the most proud of the man that you are, and the man that you've become, even without me being involved. And that was the last time that I actually heard from him, verbally, right? And then he passed away. He passed away from COVID in 2021.
Yeah.
That whole thing is still a mystery, by the way, how that happened. But that was it. And I no longer have my father, right? And you asked me a question earlier. You said, with that upbringing and the missing example of what a father should be, how are you doing it?
Yeah.
Number one, I've never have touched my wife unless she's asked me to. No, I'm joking, right? No, I've never have touched my wife. I've never physically, abused her. I've never raised a hand at her. Never will, number one. Number two, I've never even spanked my daughters. I got a 12-year-old daughter and a 6-year-old daughter. I've never had to spank them.
What do you do for discipline then? Like, how do you instill discipline?
Respect. Talk to them. And every now and then, if I have to yell, the tears start coming. They cry. right? But this is what I'm saying. You know, it's normal now for men to be cowards and not take care of their responsibility. This is a normal thing in America.
Yeah.
And it's mind-blowing. It's absolutely mind-blowing. The fact that 1 out of every 4 children in America are growing up in a home without a father, and the fact that 80% of single parent households are led by a woman,
Yeah.
tells me a lot about the kind of men that we have here in America.
I think a lot of it too, man. It's like, sure, you got like the being selfish and wanting to go do all those things, but at the end of the day, it's like when you have a kid, you don't really have, you have a life, but your life should be centered around your children. So if people haven't really lived the life they want and then they get married or they have kids at a young age, I think they feel like, you know, there's a lot more life to live with being single and not having children. And they kind of covet that and miss that. And then they try to overcompensate. And that's what destroys families. You know, it's like the guy, in high school, you know, like if, and I'm just going to just say it, right. If you're in high school and you're getting ass and you're hooking up with girls, when you grow up, you're not going to chase girls that much. But if you're, you know, not getting girls in high school. If you were
an ugly duckling and then you become a late bloomer.
Yeah, then you're just going to go, you go crazy, you know, because you got to compensate for what
I've seen that actually. I've seen it with my own eyes in my own life, like with people that I used to be friends with. Yeah. I've seen it wreck relationships and families.
Yeah.
Continue.
It's the same thing, bro. It's the same thing, but with kids. Like if you don't live your life and you have kids too young, you're going to probably grow up resenting your children instead of appreciating them. Like I hug my son and I thank God every single time when I hug my daughter, my son. I'm like, this is the greatest gift. This is, I'm so grateful. I'm forever in your debt for you giving me these children to look after and protecting them. Like that to me is just, it's worth its weight in gold, bro. I can't even put it into words to justify how much it means to me.
And it's a permanent spiritual fulfillment if you think about it, right? It's a permanent spiritual fulfillment. We're constantly, you know, as human beings, we're constantly looking for our next, what would you call it? Our next high, right? Our next high of, you know, emotion, you know, our next, what kind of cocktail, when you release good endorphins, you know what I mean? Right.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, let's go to the club, you know, let's go to the club. Let's go hit on some women. Let's go drink. Let's go do this. Let's go do that.
Dopamine, right?
Our next dopamine rush,
Yeah,
right?
our hit.
It's so temporary. This is what people don't understand.
Yeah.
It's so temporary, right? And you have to be careful. Like, I'll give you an example, right? I'm a father. I'm a husband. I have 2 daughters. If I were to cheat on my wife, I'm cheating on my 2 daughters too.
Oof. Wow.
And I'm wrecking them for life.
Wow. Yeah. Because you're the expectation of what a man is.
100%.
So if you do that, they're like, oh, that's normal for a man to do that.
Imagine this,
and they'll
right?
look for that.
Imagine how broken my 2 daughters would be if our marriage and our family ended because I cheated on mom.
Jeez, wow.
Hey, how's your dad? They'll never be full.
Yeah.
They will always have a void in their hearts for the rest of their life. And so will I. That's one thing that you just cannot ever recover from. And I get it. People move on to second or third marriages and people move on to have more children, right? And people move on and they heal, but that wound never truly closes. It's always going to be there.
What do you think about like the people that have relationships? And I know like as a man of God, I understand that you're one woman, one family and everything, but what do you feel about like people that have like multiple baby mamas, but like they take care of them, you know, like you have like somebody who has like 5 different baby mamas,
like Elon Musk,
but takes care of every single one of them, make sure that
Elon Musk has, I believe, 11 children from 6 different baby mamas.
Or Nick Cannon, I think he's
right.
He's one too.
You know, first of all, man, I don't understand it. That I couldn't do it. You know, like why not give everything you have to one person and to one family? Like, are you that much of a sociopath? Are you that self-centered? Are you that narcissistic that you just feel like you should have? I think Cam Newton is in the same boat. You should have 5, 6, 7. Tyreek Hill, right? Like these guys have multiple women with multiple kids. What kind of stability is that? What kind of example are you setting for your next generation? Everybody talks about legacy. Everybody talks about breaking generational curses. Everybody talks about healing the bloodline, right?
Yeah.
Improving the bloodline. But everybody always has money in mind. Oh, you know, I come from a poor family. There was never a multimillionaire before me. And now I'm a multimillionaire. So now I've changed it all for the rest of my bloodline, from the rest of my lineage. Well, what about the fact that you didn't improve? Like, okay, you made a whole bunch of money, but your family, you didn't set a good example in a marriage. And now your sons and your daughters have that expectation for themselves.
Playing devil's advocate. What if you are setting a good example? You do show that mother of that child love. You give them everything that they want. You're there for them. You're there for the children. You're there for the events the children has. You're providing for them. It's just 5 different women, 5 different children.
That's wild.
Maybe they all live together. You know, I'm playing devil's advocate, right? So it's like, do you think, I guess the question attached to it, do you think it's achievable? It's possible to have that, to provide and to be there for all of them. Do you think it's possible to do that?
No, I don't.
Why?
I don't.
Because society says you can't?
No. Actually, according to society these days, it says you can. Right?
That's right.
Honestly, it's not like a biblical thing, or it's not, you know, I just feel like for me, it's a spiritual thing. For you can't love 2 different women, 3 different, let alone 3, 4, 5, 6 different women. Like, can you love 5 other women the way you love your wife, Meg?
I don't think so. I don't think so for me.
Well, that's what I'm
personally.
saying.
Yeah, for me, though, you know, like,
no,
everyone's built different, bro. I don't know. But I think you're right, because you have like 100% of something. So if you're not giving 100%, you can't give 100% to 2 different
now you're
people.
Giving
you can't do
10,
that.
15, 5,
Yeah,
7.
or even 50-50, right? You give 2 people 50-50. So they're getting, you know, it's like if it was a school and it's grades, you're failing in both relationships. You know, you're not hitting the 90% mark, the 100% mark. You're half-assing it. So statistically.
You know what I also think, Zady? I believe that, specifically here in America, men have become so weak, we quit at everything. We quit at everything.
Give me an example of weak
ready?
men. Weak men.
All right.
Weak men shit.
You know, I consider failure only when you give up. Right. So I consider, like, if you give up on your marriage, it's going to fail.
Yeah. My wife rejected me, you know, over 1,000 times, but I never failed because I never stopped. And eventually I married her. So I get that.
Wow. The follow-up game is strong with you. Huh?
Yeah.
But no, seriously, right? Like, people quit, you know, watch this. People quit, you know, if someone's trying to build a business and they don't get that instant gratification, they don't see instant results, what happens?
They stop. It's not working.
They quit.
This isn't for me.
90 days.
It's a scam.
6 months.
Yeah.
I know entrepreneurs that were at it for 10, 20 years in a failing business, and then eventually develop multiple 8, multiple 9, in one case, a billionaire, a $4 billion company. And they failed for 10, 20 years.
Yeah. Wow.
Perseverance, endurance, patience.
Yeah.
Where is that?
You learn from failure, bro. That's like how we learn. I mean, nobody got up and started walking. We had to first get up and hold our back straight. Then we had to crawl. Then we had to walk. Then we could run.
Mm-hmm.
No one just, it comes out of the womb running.
No. So back to my point. I believe men quit way too soon.
Mm.
I believe men quit relationships. Men quit marriages
Yeah.
at the first glance of a difficulty. Oh, can you believe it? She says, I can't go out to the club tonight.
I'm going to show her.
You know, I don't want to be with you. You're crazy. You're controlling. I quit. Boom. You and the kid figure it out. What? You see what I'm saying? Like, men quit too quick, and men quit way too soon. We're very quick to just be like, oh, this isn't working out. Moving on.
Yeah.
Social media, options.
Yeah. I think that's why it's so important to be the best friend of your spouse before they're your spouse. I'm a very big proponent of that. You know, like you have to have phone conversations where you're not looking at each other, and see if you could have a 2-hour conversation with somebody on the phone, because in person is cheating. It's like you're looking at them and then you're thinking sexual things, and then you want to hug them. And now it's
You're
like
thinking
about
sexual things of who, your wife?
Yeah, of course she's hot, you know? So like if I'm near her, I just want to, you know,
You do?
make another baby. Yeah. So if I'm talking to her on the phone, physically I can't do that. So now I have to pay attention to the conversation and you know, interact with her. Isn't everyone like that?
Wait, so when you're at home, you constantly want to make love to your wife?
Yeah, all the time. Yeah. She's beautiful. She's always like, she doesn't need makeup. You know, I like, she's beautiful, man.
So you just want to make love to her every day?
All the time, yeah. Yeah. I'm not saying I do. Obviously I have kids and I have other things, you know, I gotta play Fortnite and gotta work too, but yeah, I always do. No, seriously. But we developed such a good relationship because, you know, before when I started talking to her, we were just talking on the phone for years. For years.
There was no
years.
physical
No, there was no
exchange,
option. Yeah. So it was just, that's why I fell in love with her, by having conversations with her. And then I could tell that when guys would run game on her, she would know and she wouldn't fall for it. And I was really attracted to that, because I know when I was growing up, I'm like, I never want to have a wife that somebody could just say some words and then the panties drop. You know, like that's so stupid. Like, but a lot of women fall for that, you know? Like a guy says like a pickup line and then all of a sudden it's like, you know?
Yeah.
So like, that's not attractive to me. It's attractive to me when a girl sees through stuff like that.
Well, so again, I believe that the grass is green wherever you water it, right? So for here, listen, for any man out there that's paying attention that could be
I prefer AstroTurf, but yeah.
Excuse me?
I prefer AstroTurf.
Got it. For any man out there that is going through a challenge, you know, with your significant other, with, you know, your wife, with the mother of your child, don't be quick to quit. Don't be quick to quit, because here's a saying that have stuck with me for a very long time. Ready? The games that the parents play, the children will pay.
Wow.
Oof. The games
Wow.
that the parents play, the kids will pay.
Wow.
The kids will pay.
Wow.
Remember that. Everything that, like, here's what it is. Like, whether you want to admit this or not, how you treat your wife, how you treat the mother of your child is going to mold, inform, and determine some, if not all, of the future of your children. How, like, what the expectations are, what the boundaries are, right? With the you know, how healthy, if they grow up to be healthy human beings, right? Like it determines so much. Now our actions have severe consequences when we are trying to raise children. They do. Think about it. What you used to get away with before you had your two children,
Yeah.
most of that is gone.
All of it. Yeah.
Right? Most of that is gone.
All of it. Yeah.
Like, okay, so how do you know, again, you got to water your grass. You got to work. It's just like anything else. You got to work actively, intentionally work on improving the relation. And it's not a 50-50. It's a 100-100 type of thing.
I would say in addition to that, I'm sorry, we finished by my.
Yeah, it's like I'm gonna show up as the best version of me, and I want you to show up as the best version of you. Right? And we're gonna make this thing work. There's no cancellation clause. There's no out clause. You know what I mean? Yeah. Right? Like this is we're in this for, we got kids, we're married. This is a forever thing. We got to make this work. We got to get on the same page. And you know what's funny? 99% of problems in a relationship are due to miscommunication. It means two people are just not on the same page and they're not understanding each other.
And it's perfect. I'm glad I waited to say what I said until now, because it attaches to what you're saying. And if you're not in a relationship and you still haven't gotten married with someone, I would say go and fulfill every single fantasy that you have. That's not like breaking the law or anything, of course, like go strangle someone or kill someone, but like sexual desire wise, if you're single, go do it. Because if you don't do it, you're going to get married and then you're going to be like, oh, I should have done that. And then you're going to resent your wife. Or if you're already married, then you need to communicate your desires with your wife. I know a lot of men that cheat on their wives. They cheat on their wife because they have something that they want to do and it's crazy, but they want to do something in the bedroom and they feel ashamed to talk to their wife about it. So then they go do it with somebody else. That's just insane and crazy. Like, how are you not trusting your wife with your desires as, she should share her desires with you?
I don't know, man. That's how swinging begins to happen.
No one is saying involve other people. I'm just saying, let's just say you have a fetish. You want a tongue stuck in your ear. I'm just throwing it out there, bro. I don't know. I'm just random one, right? To keep it kind of PG. If you don't tell your wife that and then you want that so bad and then you're out somewhere and some girl whispers in your ear, well, it's going to trigger something, right? And then you might be susceptible to that seduction that's happening because that's the devil trying to attack you. I'll say this for sure. I've been hit on 2 times in my life from females, taller. I'm 5'4", right? 6 foot females, twice in my life. And it was after I started the relationship with my wife. So I'm chasing her for years, shooting me down. I finally say yes. She finally says yes. I see her in LA. I get on a jet. I come back to LA. I'm on the tarmac walking. It was a Jet Suite X. I was walking and his 6 foot Russian girl comes up to me. She wasn't a prostitute. I originally thought she was, but she was legit hitting on me, bro. Christ. She was legit hitting on me. That doesn't happen to me.
Yeah.
So I knew, I'm like, this is the devil right now. This is
what does she want from Zady?
She thinks big things come in small packages is what she said. So she wanted to, have a little fun. We were in Vegas. She just got there. But again, it was temptation. No one would have known about it.
She wanted you to be her little toy?
Yes, big toy. But nobody would have known about it. I would have. You know what I mean? So I had to shut that down.
Did you tell Meg?
Of course I did, yeah. I called her right afterwards. I wanted to FaceTime her because I was like, so she could believe me. Her? I said, babe, so some girl just hit on me and tried to take me to her hotel room.
No way.
Yeah.
Jeez, Zady, you're like Gator from
Gator, what do you mean? That doesn't happen to me though.
The like, other guys. Remember Will Ferrell, Gator? He just shows up somewhere and women just flock to him.
That doesn't happen, bro.
You literally get on the tarmac.
2 times. Just happened 2 times.
Tall white woman is like
Russian, black hair.
Russian is a white woman.
Oh yeah, okay. Yeah.
She's like, hey, you come to my room.
No, it was a little bit more persuading, drink and other things.
Oh, you guys drink together?
No, she wanted to go drink and she's new in town. She wanted me to show her around.
Really?
All that stuff, yeah.
Really?
But anyways,
yeah.
So the point is that when you're the enemy is gonna come for you when you're in a really good position.
Yep.
And it was easy to see because it didn't happen to me all the time. Whereas somebody that gets hit on all the time, maybe it's a little bit difficult for them to see.
Well, I was at I was in New York with my family, and there was a proposal.
In Manhattan?
It was at
On the street?
Grand Central, Bryant Park,
Okay.
the big tree where they got the ice skating at Bryant Park. A proposal happens in the middle of nowhere, like, well, not in the middle, actually in the middle of everyone. Boom, drops to the knees. Everybody, oh, everybody's gasped, right? And it was like, oh, she said yes, Papa. You know, great, beautiful moment, right?
Yeah.
And I knew this was a young couple. They were like in their late 20s, and you can tell they were good, you know, stable people, professionals, right? And I just couldn't, I couldn't leave without saying something to them. I felt like God put it in my heart to say something to this man. And my wife's like, no, babe, let's just go. You know, we got to go. It's getting cold. It's getting late. We got to go get dinner. We got to go back to, you know, to where we're staying at. But I said, babe, I can't leave. God's telling me to say this to this man. And she's like, okay, let's do it. So I wait. I waited like 15, 20 minutes for them to take all their pictures.
Yeah.
Right? It's like pictures, like, you know, come on, you're a photographer. Like, right? Hey, so do the, where you're, okay, do the one with, you know what I mean? Like all these different like positions, right?
Yeah.
So I'm just waiting because I felt like God needed me to say this to this man. Finally, boom, it happens. I go up to him and I say, hey, brother. And I show him my ring, right? I'm like, hey, brother, I just want to say something to you, if you don't mind, right? He's like, yeah, what's going on? Well, first I introduced my, hey, how you doing? Carlos Reyes. I said, hey, I've been with my wife for, 2001, 23 years. Yeah, I've been with my wife for 23 years.
Damn.
And I said, I just felt the need to come over and say this to you, right? From one married man.
What'd you say, bro?
To a future married man. I said, a man cannot ever have it all if he doesn't have his family. That's what I told him. I just said, a man cannot have it all if he doesn't have his family.
Wow.
And I mean that. I really, really mean that. I believe that if a man has his family, he has it all. Money comes, money goes. Health comes, health goes. Possessions come, possessions go. Your family is everything. Think about it. It's everything.
You talking about nuclear family or outside of that too? Like,
no, I'm talking about your,
grandparents,
we're talking
aunts,
about absent
uncles.
We're talking about absent husbands, absent
so just
fathers.
mom, dad, family.
Yes.
Okay.
That's what I meant, and from what I saw, he understood. Because
Yeah.
my daughters were right next to me.
Yeah.
I pointed at my wife and my daughters and said,
Yeah.
a man cannot have it all if he doesn't have his family.
What'd he say?
He was just grateful, man. He was so, hey, thank you so much, brother. You know, just very courteous. And I just felt the need to tell him, like, hey, man, you know, it's like, for me, you know, what I was trying to tell him was, hey, things are going to get tough. There's going to be challenges. There's going to be times where you disagree. There's going to be times where you feel like it's the end of it, the end of the marriage, the end of the relationship, right?
Yeah.
But just fight for your family, because if a man doesn't have his family, he doesn't have anything.
I think it will hit him in that moment.
It will.
Where he's going through that problem.
It will.
Right now, it just kind of flew over his head probably, but it'll definitely resonate.
Yeah.
If God told you to say it,
Yep.
You're planting a seed, eventually it's going to grow and he's going to pick the fruit.
And that's all we can do.
Yeah.
Make disciples of all nations and spread the good news.
That's right. Amen.
With that being said, okay, if you find, by the way, any last words from you?
I think I said it already, you know, just go live out your fantasies before you get married and tell your spouse all your intimate desires and make sure that you're communicating with your spouse and don't hide anything. Don't have a best friend that knows your desires more than your wife or your husband. That's just a disaster waiting to happen.
Well, there you go. There you have it from Zady, the wizard. By the way, if you found this episode informative, entertaining, educational, do us a huge favor. right? Spread the good news. If you haven't subscribed, please do so. Like, share, comment. We love all of that down here, okay? We'll see you next week. Thank you for tuning in.